you know, Yakimo? Don't you know, Yakimo? A ling ting ting, ling ting ting. Oh hey hey oh, hey hey oh.
Dinah Lee there, and Don't You Know Yakimo? And of course, you know, she had a #1 hit here in Australia and got lots of airplay on the radio and over there in New Zealand too as well. And she followed it up with Do the Blue Beat, Reet Petite, you know, all those wonderful songs. She's on the line right now on the landline, and she's going to join us on the program because she's coming to Melbourne, Andrew, to do a show down here along with Jade Hurley, Lucky Star, Little Patty, and of course the She Kiwi, the Queen of the Mods, Dinah Lee, is going to be up there on stage presenting her wares, doing all those songs from days gone by. I wonder whether she's going to be wearing those wonderful fashion
mod outfits
and the page boy haircut. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's going back to the 60s.
That's Dinah Lee. That's her.
Hello, Dinah. Welcome to our program.
Thank you. Hey, Ronnie, look out. You don't know what I'll be wearing. Woo!
How about that? How you been there, Dinah? How's things?
I've been good. You know, I've been rocking for a while now, so I'm feeling pretty good.
That's fantastic. Now, you're in New Zealand as we speak.
I am. Look, I moved back to New Zealand because, well, I am a Kiwi, you know.
Yes.
And I've lived in Australia for so long, but I've got family here, so I moved back. But I do miss Aussie a bit. I really do. That's why I've got to keep coming back.
Yeah, well, this is all what it's all about, and the excitement too of the stage up there at the Palms of Crown. So we'll talk about that towards the end of the interview. But, you know, you've had a wonderful career in pop music during the 60s, and we want to talk about your abroad efforts, you know, when you went overseas and you met up with stars and all those wonderful supporting acts that you when, you know, you accompanied on stage. But what are your sweet memories of the early days? I know that when you came to Australia, Johnny O'Keefe put a star on your door. And
Look, I tell you what, I arrived at Sydney Airport and there was a Rolls Royce to meet me, you know, and I'm this little girl from New Zealand. I'm going, what is this, you know? So he picks me up and takes me, I know it was Channel 7. That's where they originally did Sing, Sing, Sing. And, of course, I went and they put me in my dressing room and it had a star on the door with my name. And I went, oh, I have actually made it. I have really made it.
Oh,
it was fantastic.
Okay, Andrew, go for it.
Oh, well, we were talking about your early career. Do you remember the very first time that you went into a recording studio, and what was that like for you?
Well, I did. Well, the first time I went in was when the Ron Dalton from Viking Records asked me to come up and do a promo to send down to Wellington in New Zealand. Yeah. And I think I sang, I'm trying to remember, I think it was Tell 'Em or something, and they sent back and said, yeah, recorder. And, of course, then I went in with Max Merritt and the Meteors. And, of course, don't forget, in those days, it was only a 2-track. So we had to put the my singing down with the band, and then the hand claps and the backing vocals came later.
On another
That's
track,
how we recorded it,
Oh, it's fascinating, And
so you only did them in those days. You didn't have too many takes to take a recording, did you?
We weren't allowed to because if you made a mistake, you had to start again. No dropping in like they do today.
Exactly.
You had to, you had to start again and go on. And of course, if you did it wrong, the band weren't very happy with you, so you just had to get it right. But there again, that's why you hear tiny little mistakes in some of the early recordings, but that's what makes it real.
Yeah,
it makes all those songs real.
It gives it, a real sense of authenticity, and it's lovely. I'd like to ask you now, Dinah, about one of my personal favourite songs of yours, I'll Forgive You Then Forget You. What are your memories of that song? Because it's probably my favourite of all your songs.
I mean, a lot of people like that. Well, I recorded that with the NZBC Symphony Orchestra, which is one of the first pop songs that was recorded with the New Zealand Orchestra. And, of course, it's got a fabulous oboe solo in it.
Yes.
And it sounds pretty husky because I think at the time I had a bit of a cold. But, hey, that lent to the sound, you know. It's amazing what happens when you go into a recording studio.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Ronnie, do you have anything you want to add to that? Or
Well, it kind of went well for me. And of course,
sorry, John, I was talking to Ronnie. I said, Ronnie, did you want to add anything to that, or?
No, I'm adding it to it.
Oh, sorry, Dinah.
It was awesome. That's all
Well,
right.
let me just jump in because I'm going to ask you a couple of questions here now. When you came to Australia, you appeared on many of the variety shows here in Australia. Now, let me just drop some of them. One of them was Johnny O'Keefe, as you mentioned there, Sing, Sing, Sing. Then there was the other teen show that was compulsive viewing on a Saturday night here in Melbourne, and that was Brian Henderson's Bandstand.
I know.
Oh, man.
Well, I became one of the family, you see, you know. Because it was pretty... Yeah, you became one of the family. And, of course, I had a bit of an in, you know, Ronnie, because Brian Henderson was a Kiwi. Did you know that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't. That's interesting.
Yeah, back in the early days he was. And he became a prominent newsreader down here in Australia after he gave away Bandstand there too as well.
That's right. But Bandstand was shown somewhere in Australia throughout the country every night. That's how the people on Bandstand, the stars on Bandstand, became so popular.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Now, when you appeared on Bandstand, you obviously sang "Don't You Know Yokomo," and you did another track too. Did you do "Repeat" and all those sort of things? Did you?
I certainly did. I did Yokomo, Repeat. But I did a lot of other things. I sang duets with Brian Henderson and a few other... They're all out there, you know, and it's wonderful to look back on these things because it was such a great time in television, you know, in Australian television.
Absolutely. Now, also, Dinah, you were asked to support many of the pop stars that were coming over to this land and touring over here. When you drop names like Gene Pitney, PJ Proby, and many others, you were supporting these artists. What was it like backstage and knowing that you were going to sing, you know, and support these big names in the pop music field of the day?
Well, let me tell you this. They might be the big pop songs, big pop stars of the day, but I held my own with them because I had hit records the same as them. Like my first big show was Starlift 64 with the Searchers, Peter and Gordon, Del Shannon, Eden Kane. And then I went on to tour with PJ Proby, you know, Jimmy Rogers, Little Millie, all these fabulous people.
Unbelievable.
So I know, how good is that?
Yeah, and that would have been exciting times too as well. Can I just take you back to an occasion that when you were on our program last time, Dinah, we lost a gentleman in the music field by the name of David Bowie. Now, the reason why I'm saying that is because you caught up with the great man in England. Let me just take you back to that interview. It's only a short piece, but when you mentioned about the likes that you caught up with David Bowie over there in England and also another big name in the music industry. Have a listen to this. It's coming up right now. Dinah Lee, the She Cooey.
I met up with David Bowie when I was in England because I lived with Little Millie in England. We flatted together, and that's when I recorded That's It, I Quit, Can't Believe What You Say, all those songs, Pushing a Good Thing Too Far in England. And of course I partied with all these people and got to meet all these people like Marianne Faithfull, David Bowie.
John Lennon.
I met up with John Lennon. I got his autograph. Paul McCartney in...
what was it like?
New Zealand.
What was it like to party with those people?
Well, it was the 60s. It was party time. It was fantastic. I mean, everything was new. No one had done that before, and it was just all fantastic.
It would have been exciting, I'll tell you.
Great.
It was just like, I'm a big fan of Elvis Presley, and I mean, if I'd had the opportunity to meet Elvis Presley, I think I'd be in awe, absolute awe.
Well, I saw him in Las Vegas, Elvis Presley, in 1971, 72. And he was absolutely fantastic.
On stage at the International Hotel?
That's it, yes.
Gee whiz.
I know. I went there by myself, and I said, I come all the way from Australia. I'm a little Australian girl. Please let me in, and they did.
How about that there, Dinah? Great memories for you?
Fantastic, yeah.
There you go.
I must admit I was a bit of a party girl back then. I slowed down a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But to catch up with John Lennon, Paul McCartney and all them, I mean... that was something special because they were really reigning high. The Beatles
well,
were.
They were, yeah. I bet, but that was the times. And when I did meet the Beatles, they couldn't believe what was happening to them as well, because everything back in the 60s was new, and with all the screaming teenagers and everything, it was just a fabulous era. It really was the 60s. Fabulous.
Yeah. Here's Andrew once again for you.
Oh, well, Dinah, I should ask you this. Did I cut you off before when you were talking about I'll forgive you, then forget you? Is there something else you wanted to say?
No, I can't remember now.
I'm so
I'm getting
sorry.
older.
I couldn't hear through my headphones properly, and I thought I was talking to Ronnie instead of you, so I'm so sorry. If there's anything
That's
else,
all right.
I'm sorry. Look, I'd like to ask you about another one of your songs. The Blue Beat, which you did. You did not only just the Blue Beat, but you also did He Can't Do the Blue Beat, and I think there was one other one. Do you know what that was?
Now you got me thinking.
There was another one, but
I know, but they all cashed in on the Blue Beat. It was Viking Records. They went, the Blue Beat. The Blue Beat girl was cashed in on that.
The song I Can't Believe What You Say was another one?
No. It was the Blue Beat, He Can't Do the Blue Beat, and I think Swinging Blue Beat or something like that.
Really?
Yeah, but I wanted to ask you, Dinah, what was this whole Blue Beat craze? Because you did, I think, 3 or 4 songs about it. What was that all about?
I know. Well, I went into... I was on tour throughout New Zealand, and I think Max Merritt had put the backing track down.
Yeah.
So I went into the Wellington studio and just put that down. I had no idea how the song went. I just had to feel it, and that's what it came out like. And of course, it was a huge hit right throughout New Zealand, and quite big in Australia as well. So. And it's sort of like it's a Jamaican sort of ska.
Yes.
And of course the ska wasn't that well known back in the 60s. So that's why it became, and it just had that infectious beat to it. And from the age of 3 to 93, they could sing it and bop along to it.
Oh, absolutely. And so is that the reason why you did then another 2 or 3 songs about it? Is that why?
Well, most probably the record company goes, the Blue Beat, we'll cash in on that.
Well, no, I think they're fantastic, all 3 songs. It's just unusual to do one song about the Blue Beat, then another one, and another one's like a sequel and all that. But they're fantastic songs. They're really fantastic.
Oh,
I love
thank you. Oh, thank you.
That's okay. It's the truth.
Now, you mentioned there, you also mentioned there Max Merritt and the Meteors, who did the backing on those singles that you released here, that got released in Australia.
Yes.
And, of course, Ray Columbus and the Invaders were reigning high too over there in New Zealand, and they were breaking ground in Australia too as well.
Well, that's it. And funny enough, Max Merritt and the Meteors, Ray Columbus and the Invaders, and myself, we all come from Christchurch, you know, on the South Island of New Zealand. So, and we've all known each other from way, way, way back. So
Unbelievable.
it's just crazy how that happened. And it was sort of Max that helped me along the way that got me sort of, you know, into the music scene in Auckland, and then I went from there to Australia.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Now, during the 60s, I mean, fashion was the mode, right? Everybody, you know, the vogue was everybody was getting into fashion with the Beatles and everything, you know.
Yeah.
People were getting into Beatles wares. They were getting Beatle haircuts and Beatle boots and everything that goes with the Beatles. So it was exciting times. Now, not only that, you wore a page boy haircut. Now, you went overseas to America, you went to England, but when you came back and you stepped off the plane, your mum greeted you at the airport, and she was amazed at the change in yourself there. She didn't recognise you. Is that correct?
Well, not amazed. She broke down and cried and said, "What have they done to my little girl?" Because I went from the home perm to the mod.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well,
I know.
Because you went with the flow, and that was the fashion, and that was the trend at the time, and because you were in the charts and everything, and you were going out doing performances and so forth. So that's what it was. They were the sign of the times, weren't they? There, Dinah.
Well, that's right, but you've got to remember, we had to make the image of ourselves. We didn't have image makers in those days. We had to come up with the trends ourselves, and so we did, and that's what made it exciting and people following. It's like when I did the Union Jack top, and I cut up the Union Jack and made a top, and Parliament in Australia were going to deport me because I defaced the Queen's flag. And all this, but the kids loved it, you know. And it was the 60s. You got away with everything.
Now, last week we had Lucky Star on the program, and I posed a question to Lucky Star, and you appeared on the same show too. Now, A Long Way to the Top, which went all around Australia, and it did great guns for the promoters and the people that organised it. I think it was Chuggy and also Billy Thorpe as well. But the entertainers who did the performances around Australia, they did all the shows and everything and kept the commitment. They weren't really paid such a handsome salary, I understand there, Dinah.
You are so right, you know, but what do, you see? You know, all of a sudden you're asked to go on a show like this, and you've got to remember, we've come through the 60s, and then we get this offer to do a complete arena show right throughout Australia with everything, because in the 60s we didn't even have foldback on stage, you know. You couldn't hear anything. Then all of a sudden we've got this wonderful production and sound and everything. So of course we all had to say yes to do this. But I don't think the promoters even thought that it was going to be such a big hit, because the 2002 Long Way to the Top was one of the biggest selling gross arena shows in the world.
It certainly was.
In the world.
Yep.
Yep.
And
it certainly was.
And it got released on DVDs and tapes and so forth and everything.
Yeah.
And people still watch it today. And I mean, what a lineup. I mean, yourself was up there, Little Paddy, Lucky Star, and then you had all the fabulous groups from out of the 60s, apart from Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs. We had Chain up there, and we had all the latter groups, including Stevie Wright of the Easy Beats towards the end. I mean, what a fitting tribute that was.
And did you know that when I was doing a show, I can't remember whether it was in Perth, and I was doing a show with either the Searchers or PJ Proby, Stevie and the Easy Beats did my backing. They were my backing group.
Is that a fact?
Wow.
I know. So it was so great to catch up with Stevie again, you know, after all those years.
And I just mentioned to Andrew about that song that you recorded back in the 60s, around about 65. I can't believe what you say.
I love that one.
I had no idea that was recorded overseas.
That was recorded in London with Chris Blackwell, who went on to own Island Records. And he managed Little Millie back then, and of course that's why I went over there and recorded with Island Records, and it went out on a label called Aladdin. So I've just done heaps. I really have. You know, it's just just good musical career. I've been so lucky.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We got to talk about the show coming up now. This is at the Palms at Crown. Now you're touring with the great Jade Hurley, the great piano player, the crown jewel rocker of Australia, and you got up there on the bill lovely Little Paddy from Bandstand Days, and of course Lucky Star, who's been everywhere, and here's your good self there on the bill too, the She Kiwi, Dinah Lee. You're looking forward to the show, are you, Dinah?
I certainly am. But it's just such a good show because people love that music. It's fun. It's happy. And when you look out in the audience, all these people, baby boomers, all of a sudden turn into teenagers again. It's really fantastic. Yeah.
Absolutely. Andrew, go for it.
Oh, well, actually, on that note, Dinah, do you still do any performances over there in New Zealand today?
I've got one, would you believe, coming up before I come over to Melbourne. I've got 2 days. I've got New Plymouth and Wellington, then do Melbourne, then I've got to come back and do Auckland and Christchurch. Yeah. So, I'm doing a few, but I've got to pick and choose, Andrew. You know, like I get tired.
Well, look, I saw some footage of you actually fairly recently on stage on the internet of performing Don't You Know Yokomo or something like that. You were fantastic up there. You haven't lost any of that energy at all. It's still, you're still fantastic up there on stage.
Oh, thank you. But how long can I keep going? I'll keep trying, but it's the baby boomers. They just want to hear that music all the time.
Let me tell you, Dinah, that I showed Andrew just about, could have been 20 minutes ago, on video, on the phone, on YouTube, and I showed him an 87-year-old singer from America, and he's a pop crooner, and he still goes out on stage. He doesn't forget the words, and he walks around the stage and sings, and his name is Johnny Mathis.
Oh, of course, Johnny Mathis, the great Johnny Mathis.
That's him. Yes. And just incredible. He still gets out there. I mean, so we're never too old there because music keeps you young.
Well, I tell you what, you are so right, because classic songs will live on forever.
They do. They do.
That's right.
And they
That's it.
Yeah, and they certainly linger on. Now, Andrew, go on.
Yes, Dinah, I want to throw back now to the 60s again. I want to ask you if you have any memories of a show called Where the Action Is with JOK and Cole Joy and a few others.
I do. There's videos out of that,
Yes,
aren't they?
I'll tell you something.
They are, and,
Yes.
and I'm in Luna Park, aren't I? In Luna Park.
That's the one, yes, and that's actually how I first heard of your music, Dinah. I was watching that episode with you in Luna Park doing, well, I'll Forgive You Then Forget You, and I think you did
That's right,
Summertime as well.
Summertime, yeah.
What are your memories?
Yeah.
Do you have any memories of how you got chosen to be on that show or of Luna Park?
Well, you know, because I had those hit records back in those times, naturally, you know, we did shows with that. But also, see, Jade and I, in the 70s, before J.O.K. passed away, we were under his management as well. So,
oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, so J.O.K. looked after us in management as well. But I think those shows were in the 60s more, weren't they?
Yes, well, I think where the action was 67 or something, sometime around there, late 60s.
That's right, yes.
At
That's
Luna
right,
Park and a few other places.
At Luna Park, yes.
Isn't that amazing?
I mean, it was fantastic because nowadays it's just videos, and in those days we did actual TV shows.
Yes,
you know,
music TV shows.
That's right, which you know, unfortunately doesn't really happen today.
No, well,
it's just all video.
I guess because they have now music videos, which you know, like 3-minute things of the song, but they don't actually have many. I don't think they have any real, like, you know, music shows like they used to, where they get all the stars together and they'd sing in, well, either, you know, a studio with a few fancy backgrounds or out at the park or whatever.
Yeah, and the kids come in and they dance to the music and everything. It's sad that that's gone, really, because it was a wonderful era of music.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, Dinah, I've got to put this on you right now.
All right.
Andrew, he came into the studio. He arranged all this interview and everything, and I'm very proud of him because he's gone to great lengths to get you. Because I said to him on the phone through the week, I'm having difficulty trying to get through to get out of Australia to get Dinah Lee, and he goes, "Oh no!" I said, "Well, Andrew, I cannot make contact with her. I've been through Jade Hurley. He's given me the number. It's not working for me." He says, "Oh, I'm not going to pass this one up. I'm going to go the great lengths to get." So he tracked you down, and he finally got your number.
I didn't track her down exactly. I just used the number you gave me, Ronnie. I just put the
but he added a few digits that I didn't have. So we got out of Australia, and lo and behold, what happens? He walks into the studio at 3 o'clock this afternoon and leaves your number home.
Oh, no.
And he's a half an hour away from the station, so he's had to walk all the way back because he doesn't drive.
I ran about 5 kilometres back home and then 5 kilometres back to the studio.
And he's back, and we finally got you on the line.
Yeah.
So there you go. There you go, Andrew. Fantastic.
Thank you, Andrew.
He's a treasure. And I'm going to alert you there, Dinah. He's only 19 years of age, and he's into our form of music rather than the new current wave of music. He just likes Australian 50s and 60s rock and roll.
Wow. I mean, that's fantastic to hear that, really.
Well, thank you, Dinah. I mean, the music is so, as you said, it's a lot happier than a lot of the music released today.
Yeah,
I mean, like you listen to like the Blue Beat or something like that, it just makes you happy. And there's not much music today which has that sort of happy, uplifting sort of beat that Blue Beat or you know, Yokomo and all those have. It's a shame.
I know.
We're going to put
thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Now, we're going to put over the show. It's happening on the 8th of October. It's a 2 o'clock session, and it's happening at the Palms of Crown here, and it's a great lineup. As we said, Jade Hurley, Lucky Star, Little Paddy, and Dinah Lee. The good old days of rock and roll. Don't miss it, folks. It's going to be an afternoon not to forget. And for those baby boomers out there, they're going to enjoy that afternoon. What do you reckon? What do you say there, Dinah?
Oh, look, get your dancing shoes on and get ready to rock.
That's it. That's all
right.
happening. Okay, now you've got a little gift for us, I understand, on a slip of paper before you.
I certainly have. And
promos.
you want me to do the promos live right
Yes, you can
now?
do it live,
Oh,
and
my gosh.
we're not going to interrupt you. We're going to let you do your
Okay.
toast. Go for it.
All right, you tell me when and I'll do it.
Go for it now.
Okay. Hi, I'm Dinah Lee, and you're listening to 96.5 Inner FM. Hi, this is Dinah Lee, and you're listening to Ronnie and Andrew on Platter Waxes. Hi, I'm Dinah Lee, and you're listening to Hit Scene with Frankie and Peter.
Oh, man, how good was that?
That's fantastic.
Good on you, Dinah. Well done. And
Oh, God. Well, was that okay? You want me to do it again?
Perfect, Dinah.
Oh, that's okay.
and you did that on the hop, and it was just
I did.
fantastic.
Oh, you're welcome.
Dinah Lee, can we thank you so much for doing this for us, and putting your time out and giving us the time to interview you about your career and everything. And I wish you every many years of success in the business and good health always too, there,
Absolutely.
Dinah.
Oh, thank you. And hopefully I've still got a couple of years left in me yet, Ronnie.
Oh, you got
Who knows?
plenty. You got plenty.
Who knows? Who knows?
Is Andrew
Who
to say
knows?
goodbye to you?
Oh, Dinah, look, as I said,
Okay.
I've seen you live. Well, I haven't seen you live, but I've seen recordings of you live recently. You still have so much energy, so don't undersell
Thank
yourself.
you.
You're still.
I
I was saying this to my brother actually before, because we were watching a few of your recent live things, and we both agreed your voice hasn't mellowed or anything. You still have that real edge that you had back in the 60s. It's fantastic. So
thank you.
keep
Thank
going,
you.
Dinah. Keep going, and
I will.
go as long as you can, because you're fantastic. And once
I
again,
appreciate that.
yes, thank you so much for coming in down the line and talking to us this afternoon.
Oh, thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right,
Dinah.
Dinah, all the very best. Bye for now.
Okay. Bye.
Bye now. We're going to go out.
Bye-bye.
Here's Dinah Lee doing a medley of her hits.